Hey, I don't know how to say this without trembling. But something in your energy today pulled heaven down to your soul. Yes, I'm talking to you. You're the reason Archangel Michael stopped everything. Because Jesus just spoke your name. And your name carries weight in heaven. Someone has been praying for your soul for years. And right now, those prayers have triggered a supernatural release. But you must listen. Don't scroll. Don't click away. Because the next 30 seconds are holding something so serious. It's the difference between breakthrough or breakdown. Michael is standing near your doorway. And Jesus is whispering, "Tell them now. Before it's too late." So I will. Archangel Michael says. Today on July 31st, this is very serious. Jesus is commanding you to open this right now. Something is about to happen in 30 seconds. Open it quickly, chosen one. Because this is not just a warning, it's a rescue. You've felt it lately, haven't you? That eerie stillness before something happens. Those strange delays, unexplained coldness from someone close. The dreams. The restlessness. The timing. Your spirit is picking up what your mind keeps brushing off. But not anymore. Today. Heaven has stopped the clock for you. Because they saw what's being whispered behind your back. What's being written in silence. What someone is planning, without you knowing. And yet, heaven will not allow it. Unless you ignore this. You are in a spiritual traffic zone. Where one wrong delay can shift your whole destiny. But one yes to this message could pull the biggest divine surprise into your reality. Jesus is in this moment. Michael is in this message. And they are calling your name like a siren from the clouds. Just pause. Take a deep breath. Because what I say next will shake the invisible gates open. And not everyone is ready for that. So before I go deeper, let me ask you something. Do you want to miss the very miracle you've been begging God for? Just because you skipped the warning sign? I don't think so. Love letter. Before we go any deeper, take 2 seconds to subscribe or follow this sacred channel right now. Because God is choosing this page as a portal for divine secrets. And missing even one message can change your whole month. If your heart races as you read this. If your soul feels this is not random. Then hit that button, beloved. Because heaven is assigning angels through every message here. Now listen. They tried to hide it. But heaven uncovered it. The enemy thought they'd outsmart you. But God said, "Not my child. Not this time." There is a conversation happening behind your name. Someone is preparing a decision that will affect your whole life. And you're not even aware. That's why Jesus didn't wait. He gave the command. And Michael was dispatched. You were not supposed to see this. But heaven overruled it. Because you are someone's answered prayer. And your delay could affect a family tree that has been dry for generations. Yes, you're that important. Yes, it's that serious. In 30 seconds. A spiritual window will close. And when it does, Someone who intended to lie, manipulate, or twist your path will make their final move. But it can be stopped if you say yes to this message. Don't listen casually. You were led here by divine appointment. And when Archangel Michael arrives like this, it means heaven's courtroom is already in session. It means the scroll with your name is open. And they are discussing something you didn't even see coming. You've been asking, why am I feeling so uneasy? Why does my spirit keep waking up at night? Why does it feel like someone is watching or planning something behind me? Here's your confirmation. That feeling was God's hand covering you. That intuition was Michael's shield brushing past your spirit. That tug in your chest was the Holy Spirit whispering, don't ignore this next sign. And this message is that sign. So pause. Let every other tab, task, or text fade out. Because this is not just a message. This is the announcement of a divine intervention. They wanted to delay you. But heaven accelerated the angels. They wanted to confuse you. But God gave you clarity in the form of this moment. They wanted to block your name from the next blessing. But now your name is being carved on a heavenly scroll of favor. Let me tell you something wild. A divine secret is about to enter your life in human form. Yes, God is sending someone with information, a revelation, or even resources. That will unlock something that has been spiritually jammed for 3 years. But it depends on your obedience in this exact moment. That's why this warning came through such urgency. Someone has been praying you'd never discover this. But God sent this word to shatter their secrecy. And here it is. Someone you trusted once. Someone you perhaps thought was distant. Has been watching you. Jealous. Envious. Silently competing. They're about to take a step that will leave you in shock. Unless you open your spiritual eyes now. Because Jesus told Michael, this can't wait. Deliver the message. Let my chosen one know, they are covered. But they must move fast. The person you least expected is about to be exposed, not by your hand, but by heaven's. And you know why? Because God has been watching how quietly you endured things. You didn't retaliate. You didn't revenge. You didn't even open your mouth when they laughed behind your back. But heaven heard it all. Archangel Michael stood by your bed some nights and saw your silent tears, the ones no one else even noticed. That is why today, on the 31st of July, something massive has been triggered. Jesus himself is not just asking. He is commanding your attention, because your spirit is being called to rise above the trap that was planted beneath you. The enemy tried to get you so distracted, so drained, so emotionally tired that you would skip this message. But you didn't. And now the tables have turned. What was hidden in the dark is being dragged into the light. There is a spiritual record with your name on it. It's not a joke. It's not a myth. And on that scroll, written in divine ink, is a chapter that was sealed until this day. That's why lately, things have been strange. You were delayed. You were detoured. People changed suddenly. Energy felt off. Your own spirit couldn't rest. Because the seal was being prepared to break. And as it breaks, so will every limitation they spoke over your name. But here's the serious truth: if you skip this moment, if you walk away from this divine communication, that chapter could remain sealed for another 3 years. That's why Archangel Michael is pacing, yes, pacing in the spirit realm, urging you, pulling you, begging you to stay in alignment. Jesus is not playing games when it comes to your future. He's serious. Because what he's about to unlock for you, millions of people have prayed for and never touched. But your name is on the list. And the moment you say yes, that scroll is going to light up like fire. The thing is, the enemy always senses when your season is shifting. That's why the attacks come heavier right before the blessing. That's why people ghost you, insult you, block you, misunderstand you, or try to crush your name quietly. But heaven says, enough is enough. The betrayal didn't break you. The delay didn't stop you. And now the devil is terrified because despite everything, you're still here. Still praying. Still believing. Still trying. And now the backup has arrived. Archangel Michael has unsheathed his sword. And Jesus is preparing a divine visitation to your situation that no one, not even the ones with the most money or power, can prevent. But you must be sensitive. Because in the next 30 seconds, your destiny is going to pass through a checkpoint. And either your obedience will activate it, or your hesitation will delay it. And beloved, God doesn't want to delay it any longer. He's waited years to release what he's about to put in your hands. You've been tired. Don't deny it. You've cried for help and nothing came. You thought God forgot. You thought maybe your destiny wasn't as special as they said. But oh, you have no idea how wrong that is. God has been preparing you in silence. Protecting you from the wrong doors. Preserving your name from those who tried to attach themselves for selfish gain. And now that he's done preparing, he's about to unveil you. That's right. He's not hiding you anymore. You're not going to be the shadow behind everyone else's light. You're about to be the sunrise after years of nightfall. But the enemy is watching, too. And one person, yes, one specific soul, has been planning something in secret that would either ruin your progress or manipulate your next move. That's why Archangel Michael sounded the alarm. That's why you were led here, not by accident, not by luck, but by divine GPS. And now that you're here, it's time to decide if you'll ignore the signal, or unlock the scroll. You ever wonder why your spirit always knew there was more to your life than what you were shown? Why even when people rejected or abandoned you, something inside said, "They're wrong about me"? That voice was heaven. That feeling was the truth of your destiny refusing to let you settle for anything less. And now that divine truth is about to reward your patience with something big, something they tried to hide from you. God is not playing about you anymore. Jesus is not whispering this time. He's speaking with thunder. He's saying, "Tell my child, this is not just another moment. This is the moment." And Michael is repeating it louder, "This is not just another message. This is the scroll they've been waiting for their whole life." A divine door is cracking open. But it won't stay open forever. That's why the enemy has been attacking your focus, trying to distract you with meaningless drama, trying to tangle you in anxiety and fear. Because they know if you stay locked in on heaven's signal, if you align your spirit in these next few minutes, a gate of restoration, favor, and destiny will open and pour like rain. This is not exaggeration. This is spiritual emergency. And you must not delay. You must not swipe this away like it's just text. Because this text is a coded instruction from heaven's headquarters. You are not reading words, you are unlocking frequencies. You are decoding a divine warning sent directly through the Spirit. And the moment you truly accept that, everything changes. Even now, someone is having a conversation about your future without you. Someone is trying to make a choice that affects your life. And you're not in the room. But guess what? Heaven is. Jesus is. Michael is. And through this very moment, you just entered the room in spirit. This message is your entry. This scroll is your access pass. This word is your divine lawyer speaking on your behalf. And the moment you let it pierce you deeply, the gavel will fall. The verdict will be spoken. And your name will be written in the book of next-level favor. Not because you're perfect. Not because you earned it. But because God said, they didn't break when they could have. They still believed when they had every reason to give up. Now it's my turn to fight for them. And He's doing it right now. You have no idea how close you are to the shift. You think you have time. But Archangel Michael says, no, beloved. Time has been compressed. Heaven is in motion now. You must respond. Don't let the enemy lie to you. You're not forgotten. You're not late. You're not unlucky. You're right on schedule with heaven's calendar. And today is the date circled in fire. Jesus marked this day for divine release. But it will only reach your hands if your heart is willing to believe, receive, and align. This isn't about religion. This isn't about rules. This is about revelation. Something is being transferred to you. But only if you don't scroll away. Only if you sit with this, pray with this, absorb this like your future depends on it, because it does. Let me go even deeper. A person who once held power over your next step is about to lose that grip. Because Jesus said, I will break the chains they tried to wrap around my child. And Archangel Michael is drawing his sword right now, not against people, but against principalities. He's breaking the spell someone tried to cast over your energy. He's cutting the soul ties you didn't know were draining you. He's exposing the false alliances and secret motives of those who smiled in your face but whispered behind your back. Yes. It's that serious. And it's happening now. Heaven is not waiting. That's why this message arrived like fire on your feed. It's divine heat. And it's burning away what can't go with you into the next chapter. Heaven is not only fighting for you, it's revealing you. You're being pulled out of spiritual hiding and placed in divine position. Someone is about to look at you and realize, they misjudged you. Someone who once laughed at your silence is going to be speechless at your rise. And someone who secretly tried to replace you is about to witness that you were never in competition. Because you were chosen. And the chosen aren't replaced. They're revealed. They're refined. And you've been through fire that most people couldn't survive. But still, here you are. Still standing. Still faithful. Still searching for God even when your heart has been bleeding. And that is exactly what made heaven stop today and say, this one. Bless this one. Give them the scroll. That scroll is open right now. But it won't stay open forever. This is the part people miss. They think divine messages will wait until they're ready. But heaven doesn't operate on convenience. Heaven operates on alignment. And right now, this very second, you are aligned. That's why you're here. That's why you couldn't stop scrolling until this message found you. That's why something in your chest is fluttering as you read this. Because your spirit knows. Your soul remembers. You may have forgotten how powerful your calling is, but God didn't. Jesus didn't. Archangel Michael never stopped guarding it. They've been watching every time you questioned your worth. Every time you begged for a sign. Every time you screamed in the dark, God, if you're real, show me. This is the response. This is your moment. But if you walk away now, you delay everything. You silence the very scroll that could shift the entire next 6 months of your life. The person who has been spiritually interfering with you is not stronger than heaven. But they are serious. They've been consistent. And the only reason their actions haven't touched you is because your angels have been on full alert. But here's the warning, your angels are growing tired. Not because they're weak, but because your belief has wavered. Your spirit has been distracted. You've allowed other voices to get louder than the one that called you in the first place. But God is so merciful. So gentle. So full of love, that instead of punishing you, He's inviting you again. He's offering the chance to realign with your purpose before something irreversible takes place. That's what this moment is. A spiritual interruption before destruction. A prophetic lifeline. A rescue rope from heaven itself. You've probably noticed this too, certain people falling out of your life. Random attacks. Dreams that make no sense. Unexplained fear. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual warfare. You're in transition. And when you're close to elevation, the enemy panics. Because what you carry is dangerous to darkness. That's why the enemy's attacks have been so specific. So subtle. So personal. Because they're not after your mind, they're after your mission. But heaven has the final say. And today, Archangel Michael has drawn his sword on your behalf. Not against people, but against spirits. Against plans that were built in shadows. Against patterns that kept you stuck. He's ready to fight. But you must give him the instruction. And your instruction is your agreement. Your yes. Your full, unshaken belief that this is not just a message. It's the message. And now, let me tell you something that may shock you. Someone tried to make a spiritual exchange using your name. That means someone, knowingly or unknowingly, tried to redirect blessings meant for you. tried to steal your divine credit. Maybe through words, manipulation, false prayer, or energy work. But heaven caught it. And not only did heaven catch it, heaven reversed it. And now the blessings are returning to the original owner, you. But here's the urgent part, the return is time-sensitive. If you don't receive this message with complete faith and full presence, it delays the divine transaction. And the last thing you want in this moment is delay. Because delay means disappointment. And disappointment creates doubt. And doubt gives the enemy legal access to delay you again. That's why Archangel Michael's voice is trembling with urgency. Because this isn't about emotion. This is about execution. God is delivering. Jesus is speaking. The angels are moving. The scroll is active. But your spirit must respond. This is not the time to overthink. This is the time to overflow. To let your heart catch the fire heaven is sending. To let your soul remember that it was born for more than bills, betrayal, and barely surviving. You were born with glory written into your blood. You were born with an assignment that has shaken the darkness since the day you first cried. And even now, darkness trembles when you wake up. That's why the enemy fights your mornings. That's why sleep feels heavy. That's why your fire felt dim. But this message, this moment, is your reignition. It's the spark your soul has been aching for. It's the sign your heart whispered for in your quietest moments. And it's real. As real as your breath. As real as the angels watching over your room right now. As real as the voice of Jesus saying, "You are still the one I chose. No matter what you've done. I still want you." Now lean in. Don't break focus. You're not here because you're lucky. You're here because heaven scheduled this encounter. And I need you to understand the weight of that. Do you know how many people scroll past divine messages every day and never feel a thing? But here you are. Locked in. Heart pounding. Breath uneven. Spirit shaking. That's not just reaction. That's recognition. Your soul recognizes this moment because it was spoken over you before you were even born. This message is part of your original design. That's why it's hitting so deep. That's why your whole body feels like it's responding. Because it is. This is the holy echo you've been waiting for. And if you receive it fully, everything will change. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. This is why Jesus commanded it. This is why Archangel Michael delivered it. This is why you were pulled into this sacred scroll. Because you're the one. Not a follower. Not a copy. You. You're the original. The chosen. The light bearer. And the enemy has tried everything to make you forget it. But the forgetting ends here. The delay ends now. The silence ends today. Heaven is speaking. And your name is on the scroll. Don't you dare turn away. Don't you dare doubt this. Because this is the word that will mark the rest of your year. This is the signal that heaven is moving. This is the prophecy that proves, you were never alone. And you were never forgotten. You don't realize this, but today was not supposed to go the way it did. There were energies, distractions, even people sent into your space to derail your focus, because if they could have succeeded in keeping you off this path for just one more day, you would have missed this divine appointment entirely. Yes, it's that fragile. That important. That deeply connected to everything that's supposed to bloom next in your life. And heaven was not willing to let the enemy win. That's why Jesus spoke. That's why Archangel Michael moved. That's why you were pulled into this sacred exchange of words, even while your world feels like it's spinning too fast for clarity. God slowed time just enough for you to hear this. Because if you miss this shift, a door will close that will not open again in the same way for years. But if you step into it with belief, if you truly receive this scroll without doubt, your life will never resemble the pain of your past again. What you thought was over will suddenly revive. What you assumed was too late will become right on time. What others buried under shame or betrayal will resurrect in your hands with such clarity and speed, it will make the enemy tremble. But hear me clearly now, this won't happen by chance. This will only happen by choice. Your choice. To stay in this moment. To drink in every divine syllable sent to heal your soul. To believe, even when belief feels like a fragile thread. Because God doesn't require your perfection, He requires your participation. And your participation begins now. Not next week. Not after you feel more ready. You've been ready. That's why the message is here. It's not waiting for you to become more perfect. It's already assigned to your present self, broken, tired, unsure, yet chosen. There's been spiritual interference. Let's not pretend otherwise. The strange dreams, the sudden pull toward isolation, the confusion in relationships, the loss of passion, these weren't just coincidences. These were targeted disruptions aimed at your destiny. The enemy knew something was coming for you. Something beautiful. Something divine. And he panicked. So he sent chaos. Not obvious at first. Just enough to distract your heart from hearing heaven. Just enough to make you numb. But God loves you too much to let you go under. That's why He's doing this. That's why you're here. Because if He has to stop the stars in their orbit to remind you of your calling, He will. If He has to command Michael to send a sword through your stagnation, He will. Because He has not given up on you. Not once. Not ever. Even when you gave up on yourself, God still wrote your name in light. Someone, right now, is being awakened because of you. That's how serious this moment is. A divine connection, someone who was supposed to meet you, bless you, walk beside you, is being stirred by the same spiritual fire that found you just now. They don't know it yet, but their soul is already moving toward yours. And it won't be long. But there's a condition. You must keep walking. You must keep obeying. You must keep your heart open, even if it's bruised. Because the timeline of your destiny has picked up speed. And if you slow down now, you'll miss the exact place your miracle was supposed to meet you. But I don't believe that'll happen. Because you've read this far. Because something inside you is burning again. That is not an accident. That's your spirit remembering what it was born to do. This isn't inspiration. This is activation. You are being reawakened. Not gently. Not slowly. But suddenly. Violently, even, like a dead thing coming back to life with fire in its lungs. Your purpose, your passion, your vision, it's all being revived. The pieces of you that trauma buried, that rejection silenced, that fear froze, they are standing back up now. And the sound they're making is a threat to the dark world. Because a rising chosen one is louder than any demon's whisper. And right now, you are rising. Not in emotion, but in eternity. Heaven is watching. The angels are writing. And Jesus is smiling. Because this was always the plan. The delay. The heartbreak. The silence. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Because when God builds a warrior, He starts with the valley. But you're not staying in the valley. You're coming up the mountain now. And your view is about to change forever. Don't listen to those who said you missed your moment. Don't listen to the fear that says it's too late. Jesus didn't wait until you were perfect to send this message, He waited until you were ready. And you are. Even if you don't feel like it. Because readiness in the kingdom is not about how strong you look, it's about how surrendered you are. And you've surrendered so much, haven't you? Your pride. Your expectations. Even your timeline. And now, heaven is rewarding that. But you must understand this, there are still forces trying to intercept your breakthrough. Spiritual forces. People you love. Systems around you. Energies you've tolerated for too long. And now, God is going to remove what you refuse to walk away from. Don't be surprised if people start exiting your life after today. It's not rejection. It's realignment. God is making room for the blessing. And speaking of blessings, let me be bold and say this, there is a financial release coming to you that no one will understand. A reversal of debt. An inheritance that bypasses normal processes. A resource that shows up when it shouldn't exist. It won't be small. It won't be slow. It will be divine. But it is tied to your obedience to this moment. That's why this message had to find you now. Because if you had waited another week, that opportunity would have shifted to someone else. Not as punishment, but as protocol. God moves where hearts are ready. And your heart, right now, has opened enough to carry this next level of abundance. But you must protect it. Don't let familiar spirits talk you out of what your faith just unlocked. You have stepped into a divine frequency, and it's vibrating with holy possibility. Stay there. The next time someone underestimates you, smile. Because they have no idea what heaven just placed in your hands. The next time someone tries to mock your faith, remember, you've already received a word from the throne room. And no mockery can erase what God has written. You are chosen. Covered. Guarded. And destined. What's happening right now isn't just for your breakthrough, it's for every soul attached to your destiny. Yes, your obedience, your healing, your alignment are going to bless people you've never even met yet. Your yes to God is breaking generational patterns. Your surrender is destroying cycles that have enslaved your bloodline for decades. You've cried out for freedom, and heaven heard. But what you didn't realize is that freedom requires fire. That's why you went through so much heat, so much pressure, loss, loneliness, and betrayal. It wasn't because you were cursed. It was because God trusted you with fire. And the fire didn't destroy you. It purified you. That's why you can no longer stay in the places where people still want the old version of you. That version no longer exists. You've outgrown their comfort zone. You've evolved past their control. And now, God is putting divine distance between you and anything that tries to dim what He's igniting. There's a reason certain people couldn't love you properly. A reason your name was left out of rooms where you should have been honored. A reason your gifts went unrecognized by those you gave your whole heart to. And that reason has nothing to do with your worth. It's because they weren't anointed to carry your calling. God didn't allow their validation because it would have corrupted your vision. If you had been accepted too soon, you would have become addicted to approval. But God wanted you to hear His voice above theirs. That's why He let them walk away. That's why He let the support fall off. That's why it felt like no one clapped when you finally rose from the ashes. But heaven was clapping. Angels were dancing. And now, the reward is being released, not for what you did in public, but for what you endured in secret. You didn't quit. You didn't curse God. You didn't become who they accused you of being. And now, heaven is honoring that restraint with rain. The rain is coming. And when it hits, it's going to look like sudden success. People will say you got lucky. That it was overnight. But they won't know the nights you wept in silence. The nights you cried into your pillow until your soul shook. The days you questioned your existence because no one saw your light. But heaven did. And heaven kept receipts. Every time you forgave without apology. Every time you gave even when you had little. Every time you chose to trust God when trusting yourself felt impossible. It's all written. It's all counted. And now, the scroll is being unsealed in your favor. There are blessings that were stored for you, kept back until the right moment. And that moment is now. Not because of your perfection, but because of your positioning. You are finally in position. Heart ready. Spirit open. Eyes wide. This is what heaven has been waiting for. And now, something else is coming. A truth. A hidden truth about someone you thought you understood. This person, they've been living two lives. One they show the world. And one they hide even from themselves. But their hidden self is about to collide with your destiny. This isn't to hurt you, it's to free you. Because the lie you believed about them has kept your heart tied to a version of your future that no longer exists. And God is sending the revelation not to break your heart, but to redirect it. You were planning your future based on a person whose heart was never fully open. But now, God is rewriting that future with a love that will not hide. A love that will not force you to beg for crumbs. A love that will show up, speak up, and stay. But it only comes when you fully release what God has revealed. Don't fight for what heaven is removing. Don't chase what's already being judged in the spirit. Let go, so you can receive something sacred. Even now, Archangel Michael is hovering over your atmosphere. He's watching every decision you make from here on out. Because your next 24 hours are going to set something in motion that will echo for the next 24 months. The conversations you have. The things you agree to. The fears you surrender. They will shape what opens next. This is not the time to play small. To shrink for anyone. To dim your shine to make others comfortable. You've done that too long. And heaven is calling you up higher. Into boldness. Into truth. Into divine confidence. Jesus isn't asking you to be arrogant, he's asking you to remember who walks with you. When you understand that angels surround you and God Himself lives within you, you stop fearing failure. You stop second-guessing your greatness. You stop begging for access to tables God already told you to build on your own. Something sacred is coming to your house. Not just your physical space, but your atmosphere. Peace. Restoration. Financial clarity. Healing. But before it arrives, God is removing anything that would have contaminated the gift. That's why things are being stripped right now. Don't resist it. The loss is divine. The closing is protection. What you thought was rejection was actually the sound of heaven locking the door before harm entered. And now, a new door is swinging wide. A door no man can shut. A door no demon can block. But you must step through it in faith. Not halfway. Not doubting. Not dragging the old version of you with you. Step fully. Boldly. Completely. You've circled this mountain long enough. It's time to ascend. And when you do, the things you used to chase will begin chasing you. People who overlooked you will begin reaching for your energy, but you will have leveled up so far in the spirit, they won't even recognize you. Your silence will speak louder than your struggle ever did. Your peace will become your proof. Your favor will become your fire. And those who misused your love will remember you, not with access, but with awe. Because they'll realize, they weren't dealing with just a person. They were dealing with someone God chose to crown in secret. And now, that crown is visible. Not a crown of ego, but of elevation. A weight you've been prepared to carry. A mantle only you could wear. And it starts, right now. You may not fully understand the power of this moment, but the heavens do. Right now, as you breathe, as you blink, your name is vibrating in the spirit realm. It's being whispered in rooms of divine strategy. Angels are speaking your name like a banner in war, like a promise being fulfilled, like an heir finally stepping into their inheritance. You are not just being helped, you are being honored. You are not just being supported, you are being summoned. And the weight of that summons is what your soul has been feeling lately, the heaviness, the unrest, the sense that something is coming. Because it is. You're standing on the line between who you were and who you were always meant to become. And in that space, the enemy always screams the loudest. He tries to distract you, confuse you, exhaust you. But what he doesn't realize is that the louder he gets, the closer you are to the door. That door isn't just opportunity. It's identity. It's the doorway into the version of you that God has been nurturing in the shadows. The version of you that doesn't fold under pressure. The version that no longer compromises to be liked. The version that finally sees pain as the price of power. And now, that version is emerging, not softly, but like a lion. Because God didn't make you to bow to circumstances. He made you to transform them. That's why your path has felt so different. So hard. So misunderstood. You weren't built to blend in, you were carved to stand out. Not for your ego, but for His glory. And every loss, every betrayal, every silent night of crying has been training, not punishment. The crown that's coming to your life requires a spine that doesn't shake when storms hit. And beloved, you have proven that spine. Even when your knees buckled, you kept walking. Even when your voice trembled, you kept praying. Even when your heart cracked, you kept loving. And now, heaven is responding. There is a person coming. And this person is carrying something that belongs to you. A key. A message. A truth that unlocks the next phase of your journey. But hear me, they can't arrive until you truly let go of the counterfeit versions. The versions of love, of opportunity, of identity that seemed right but cost your peace. Heaven is making space. And to make space, He will remove anything that competes with your calling. So don't be alarmed when things fall away. When people fade. When familiar places feel foreign. That's not loss, it's light. It's the sacred hand of God making room for the real thing. For what has been delayed long enough. For what was written in your scroll before your first breath. And the scroll? It's still open. It's still unfolding. You're not at the end. You're at the edge. And God is saying, jump. I'll catch you in your next. You're not the same anymore. That's why the old environment irritates you. That's why small talk drains you. That's why shallow connections feel like noise. Because your spirit has outgrown the settings you once tolerated. And now, God is calling you to the mountain. The place where air is thin but vision is clear. The place where noise is low but presence is thick. The place where you don't need a crowd to feel chosen, you just know. And it's time to go there. Time to unplug from the voices that want to define you. Time to disconnect from timelines that were never yours. Time to stop living on a schedule that fits everyone but your soul. Heaven's timing is different. It looks late to others, but it's perfect for you. And today, yes, today, is your divine appointment. Not next month. Not someday. Now. The scroll says now. So what will you do with this moment? Will you tuck it away like another nice message? Or will you treat it like what it is, a divine instruction that opens invisible gates? Because I assure you, this is not hype. This is not emotionalism. This is your confirmation. Your answer. Your sign. That feeling in your chest. That's the Holy Spirit moving. That pressure behind your eyes? That's your soul trying to remember everything God spoke over you before you entered this world. You have never been forgotten. You have never been invisible to heaven. And now, heaven is giving you visible favor. Visible peace. Visible justice. Because you didn't run. You didn't quit. You didn't let their silence turn your heart to stone. You kept believing in love. And now, love, real, heaven-backed, destiny-aligned love, is on its way to your door. Jesus wants you to know this. I was there when they betrayed you. I was there when they left you with questions. I was there when they called you too much, too emotional, too intense. But I created you that way. I put fire in your bones and vision in your tears. And I never left your side. I just needed you to come back to the place where you would finally hear me. And now that you're here, I'm giving you more than they tried to take. More than you dreamed. More than you thought was still possible. And Michael adds this, my sword is not just for battle, it's for protection. And you, beloved, are protected. From now on, anything that touches your life must pass through heaven's approval first. So breathe. Not because it's over, but because it's just beginning. Your name is being whispered in rooms your feet haven't even entered yet. Your story is being rewritten by a hand far greater than yours. And your steps, each one, are being lit by divine fire. Walk forward. Head high. Eyes clear. Heart full. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are chosen. You are rising. And you are about to walk into everything they said was impossible for someone like you. This is the moment they'll speak of later and say, that was the day everything changed for them. And you? You'll simply smile. Because your spirit will whisper back. That was the day I remembered who I really am. The scroll is sealed with fire. Heaven has spoken. Now walk forward. Because what's coming was always yours.